India and Federation of Indian SME Associations, as well as SME Technology Development Council. I welcome on behalf of all the participants, delegates participated from the various parts of India. Particularly special welcome to Sri Sudhir Garg, Joint Secretary, Minister of MSME, Government of India. A special guest today, Abhishek Singhji, President and CEO, National E-Governance Division, NEGD, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, we call as MIT, Government of India. One of my very prominent member and friend, Jonathan Burke, Director Overseas Operations, EVERSEEN Limited, Netherlands company, who has started their operation in India, Pune and Hyderabad. My dearest friend and chairman of SME Technology Development Center and CEO and President Sigma Electric Manufacturing Corporation, operation in India and US, and he is speaking from USA, Mr. Viren Joshi, and Sri Sushilkumar Patil, solution expert, Mumbai, Tata Tele Services. On behalf of SME Chamber, I welcome you. Prasad is going to join in a few minutes, and Amit Gurav from the Tata Services. He is also join with us at this important digital SME summit. Friends, we are all aware that current scenario, this pandemic has shown a very drastic situation for particularly SME sector, and we are aware that SME sector is significantly contributing to India's GDP, and although these are considering to be backbone of country's economy, these businesses face innumerable challenges, primarily from the traditional practices and lack of digital influences. Whether it is intense competition, ever demanding customer, or ever funding related challenges, these often turn out to be the hurdles in a SME growth. Many SMEs are lagging behind the digital transition. Most of them ignore the potential and benefits in the productivity and competitor. We can't clearly identify their needs, but now we have identified their clearly needs because of this pandemic. Most of the MSMEs, most of their workforce working from home, working from the same place, a safe place. Therefore, the current scenario shows that digitalization is the most important aspect for every industry, every businesses, and especially for SME sector. Friends, we are aware that this corona has shown the different type of difficulties, rather challenges, rather opportunities also created by this pandemic. This midst of the transition of the particularly digital economy and society, which has the need of power to adapt new support services, spur innovation, enhance productivity, and improve well-being, productivity and services. Many small and medium enterprises are stand to benefit dramatically from the acquiring and using digital technology, which offer new opportunities for SMEs to participate in the global economy, innovate and grow. Most of the MSMEs are facing a lot problem for innovation, invention, but now this is the right time, to come out from all these challenges faced by SMEs. We know that lack of awareness of digital transformation, a lack of awareness about the particular product, lack of awareness particularly uses of that. And similarly, I found that most of the MSMEs are facing problem for hiring the high profile skilled manpower. But nevertheless, there are plenty of digital platforms are made available by various top corporates, medium-sized industries, MNCs, foreign companies, and mostly the medium-sized and small-sized industries also created a lot of digitization platform. In that, Tata Tele Services also is doing a lot of work with us today, and they are giving a lot of ideas and support for SME sector. I observed that like a Zoho, they are providing top quality the services for working from home, working from same place, safe place. So benefits of the digitization for the SMEs are, of course, operational efficiency, improve productivity, enhance customer acquisition, workforce enhancement, risk management, innovation, reduce manpower, instant communication, making smart SME companies, making smart the enterprises, smart business solutions, which is useful for the SMEs, CRM, new websites, e-commerce, digital transformation, e-commerce, advantages for SMEs. There are huge benefits are there. Brand promotion. Most of the MSMEs are facing problem for the brand promotion, and all these are the services available cost effective. Even SMEs can expose their connectivity, their product services for not only just local market, national and international market. It helps to setting up their target audience. It helps for to connecting with the specific segment and specific sector. Now SME should think about the development in IoT, development in cloud computing, big data. Fourth industrial revolution is there, and technological development day by day. Digital platform as well as fintech, blockchain, DLTs are very, very useful for the SME sector. So I will not take much time because the stalwarts from the Ministry of MSME, Ministry of Electronics, and Tata Tele Services. Jonathan is there who is going to share his thoughts. And mostly Viren Joshi, when he is working in the USA, he is interacting with the US companies, interacting with most of the top level people in various parts of the world. He is going to share his thoughts. Before that, to hand over this mic to the opportunity to Amit, I want to welcome again all the dignitaries and all the speakers at this important event, and special thanks to all the participants from all India level, those who have joined this webinar. With this words, I welcome Amit to share your few minutes.
Yeah, thanks a lot, sir, and thanks a lot for this opportunity. From Tata Tele Business Services, I would like to thank each and every one who are able to join this session and given that time, especially the keynote speakers and the panelists for the day. As you rightly mentioned, with crisis there comes an opportunity. Yes, we have been dealing with the crisis, and over the last 6-7 months, each and every SME, and in this segment, we has an endeavor. We all have come out as a winner, and we are facing these challenging times. We would like to start the session. We would like to thank each and every one of you who have able to join the session. Tata Tele Business Services welcomes you all for Digital Dubik Forum. We welcome you all for Dubik Digital Forum, which is an customer engagement and education initiative by TTBS, where industry leaders from across business verticals convene to discuss a challenging and convene to discuss how digital technologies are being used to deliver compelling products and solutions for the customers and optimize costs. These forums are an engagement platform for our customers, wherein on a continual basis, TTBS tries to understand their challenges and provide them with relevant digital solutions. Prevailing the current global situation of efficiently operating from home with their limited capacity, our smart solutions will enable you to efficiently work from home to meet the ends of your customers and the organizational needs. With this, we would like to start the session. Over to you, Mr. Salunkhe. Thanks a lot for this opportunity.
Thank you, Amit. Thanks for joining. When we are talking about globalization, industrialization, fourth industrial revolution, we would like to also understand, along with the digitization, the industrial developments. And for that purpose, I would like to invite Sri Viren Joshi to share his thoughts. Virenji.
Chandrakant, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. A warm welcome to all the speakers. A special warm welcome to Sudhir Garg and Mr. Abhishek Singh. Great pleasure to have all of you on this conference today. My topic today really is globalization of digitalization. That's a long sentence in itself. And if you see the world that has changed, as Chandrakant rightly said, and all of you know, but just think what we were on maybe the 1st of March this year and where we are today. In fact, I joke to say many young children would not even recognize us without a mask. That's the world that has changed today. And most of us working from home, online, even to contact a family, we're doing it online. Shopping is online. I jokingly say that when my wife goes online shopping, Amazon stocks shares go up because, and that's true all over the world. Everybody's really excited and online today. And that's happening with our customer interactions. And then you talk about, as Chandrakant rightly said, the whole manufacturing space, digital factory. We all knew about it, interacted with it. We had started it worldwide everywhere. But what's happened during the pandemic? One of the things which has happened is everybody woke up to say, including this conference, you and me might have tried to stay to work, be in one room together, having a session. And here we are across the world, only willing to come on a virtual session. The same has happened in the digital factory, in the manufacturing space. Today, there is a heightened awareness of the need to go digital, of us to focus on what is the fourth industrial revolution, Industry 4.0. These were all known to us, but now there's a renewed interest, renewed vigor to take this forward much faster. And the whole convergence of augmented reality, artificial intelligence, robotics, all of that coming together to create what is this new whole renewed digital factory. And I just want to give you one or two examples which could be of interest to everyone. One is the World Economic Forum set up an experiment at 54 global sites. They had leading companies focus on digital manufacturing, digital factories, and they call them lighthouses. So these 54 locations are lighthouses. They are global companies like Renault, like Sandvik, Unilever, Bosch, Schneider Electric, Tata Steel, and many others. And all of them have got together and they are sharing the latest in digital manufacturing. And the results have been really astonishing. The second example is something that we should all be aware of. It is an exciting example. It's also a frightening example. And it's from Alibaba of China. Alibaba of China, 2 weeks ago, just 2 weeks ago, announced that they had a secret project going on for 3 years on the digital manufacturing and digital factory. And they announced and unveiled the world's most advanced manufacturing plant, digital plant at Sunside Digital. This is for manufacturing apparel and textiles. And Alibaba's plan is, with this successful launch, they want to introduce this manufacturing across China. They want to digitalize the manufacturing of all Chinese factories, is the self-announced plan by Alibaba. This gives you an idea that China is already a very strong competitor, a very strong manufacturer in practically every industry. And here now, one of the largest and richest companies is now wanting to digitalize the whole country all over again. I'm just leaving you with these thoughts to say this is what the world is changing to with their attention to digital manufacturing. Even at Sigma, we have over 18 facilities. We have 5,000 people. We're in several different countries, and maybe 1,500 plus, maybe close to 2,000 machines, and we're digitalizing that. In my mind, and for you, the way to look at this as a formula is digital technology is really a combination of information technology, operational technology, and engineering technology. And the IT part, the information technology part, encompasses everything that is digital and everything that we need to add into it to create this virtual manufacturing plant. And it's a very exciting time. I've got a lot of focus on low-cost automation, robotics, augmented reality, artificial intelligence for big data analytics, and I can go on and on. Just giving you one example, it's just something that a device that we bought this week is coming into India right now. It's coming into my plant, and it's called a HoloLens, and it's augmented reality. With this device, which is like a spectacle, you would wear it, and you could then do a virtual presentation in 3D. You could do detailed presentations in a 3D version for showing your factory, talking about detailed designs and a number of training. And we are going to implement this at all our locations worldwide. So with that, imagine there is no need to travel. There is no need for a customer to come and even visit my plant to audit it. So that's the new world that we're moving into day to day. Now we've moved into real-time location systems, automated identification and data capture, AIDC, RTLS, and right now with large warehouses that we have, and I saw a nice presentation. I've talked about it with my team in the past, but today I'm asking my team, now's the time. It's low cost. Go ahead and put in a drone so that we can manage our inventory, 15 to 20,000 SKUs, by having a drone moving in the warehouse and able to identify and locate items throughout the warehouse. So that's the way the world is moving. One more small example, which I hope will excite all our members, but especially SME. My message is for the SME. We decided during the pandemic and said we are doing a lot of work on digitalization, but we've done most of it in the factory. So I said, let's look at the office. So we identified, and I started with a target of 100. Believe it or not, my global board said to me, 100 might be a big number, Viren, be careful. We have now, here we are in November, and we have completed 260 reports, digitalization. It has saved us $300,000 per annum. Not per one time, $300,000 is a saving from just digitalizing these few reports. That's the potential, that's the exciting potential of digitalization across the office, across the factory, across global supply chain. So my message to everybody is, let's move out and execute. Let's bring the power of execution. It sounds as if it would be very costly. It is not. I'm sure I know some of the speakers have got good examples, and one of the examples is there are very good Indian startups, SMEs, who have got very cost-effective solutions for digitalization. Let's utilize the power of our SMEs for the startups, for the knowledge that they have, and bring that digitalization to all the industry in India and globally. It's a global business. So let's bring that together. I would just say, let's use the platform of the SME Chamber, a great location where we can bring all the industry together, SMEs together, the experts and specialists in digital on the whole digital platform, and bring them all together to make sure that we can digitalize really fast. I mean, and on a serious note, don't wait for Alibaba to overtake us again in China. We should move together. We have the competency. We have the skills. As a great team, we are together. And I again want to mention that we are in one way very lucky. We have the government of India under Prime Minister Modi ji, his focus on digital. I've spoken to Sri Sudhir ji. I know his ministry, the MSME ministry, and various other ministries are so focused on digital. I think we all should take advantage and collaborate together to make this happen. So that's my message for the day. That's the exciting background that I take back. I'm really excited with digitalization. And I think it is really cost effective. It is really beneficial for us. In fact, I would stick my neck out and say, if we do not go digital, we're not going to survive. If we go digital, we will not only survive, we will grow, and we can become much more globally competitive and become a global manufacturing leader again through digitalization. So that's my message for the day, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Virenji. You rightly said that go digitization, digital hona hai, to jaruri hai. This is the right time. And for that purpose, you said one sentence, empowering SME is most important now for making competitive, not only for local but a global market. In this regard, the Honorable Prime Minister has already announced that making all SMEs are Atmanirbhar. And somehow, Minister of MSME under the leadership of Sri A.K. Sharma ji doing fantastic work for last 6 months. And I observed that, every time they are bringing new ideas, new concept. And under the guidance of and supervision, Sri Sudhir Garg, they have some formulated ideas, some particular platform for a digitization in SME sector, like a digital India, digital SME. This is a very interesting platform, very interesting information they are going to create. And I'm sure that making MSMEs, Atmanirbhar, that is the main objective of today's even webinar. Because unless until we will not provide them, value addition, support, and strengthening SMEs, we cannot compete with not only local market with the global market. So I will not take much time to, and I would like to invite Sudhir Garg to share his thoughts about what is the role of Minister of MSME currently, how they want to empower SMEs by adapting or informing or creating awareness for the digitalization. Sudhir Garg.
Good evening, friends.
Evening.
It gives me immense pleasure to talk to this dynamic and forward-looking group. I would like to congratulate the SME Chamber of India, the Federation of Indian SME Associations, and other participating organizations for having decided to keep a talk on this very relevant topic. India is a country of 1.3 billion people, we know it all, and we are very hardworking people, intelligent and sincere to our commitments. Globally, we Indians have been recognized highly for our intelligence and hard working. And that's why we have around 1,200 global R&D centers in the country. So this is a very important point that we are the global R&D house now. So we are serving the whole of the globe. Now the time is that we serve ourselves as well. Now today we are living in the digital age. And what it really means to me, I will say that it means that every piece of knowledge is on my tips. We all know that knowledge is the key to the growth. And the interesting point is that it is totally different from the traditional form of knowledge. And knowledge in this form is far more interesting, allows to discover new areas. So that's a very important point because our SMEs normally they try to keep away themselves from the new things happening. So the digital world allows you to learn very quickly and in a very interesting manner. So this is something which I think we have to encash upon. I strongly feel that the call by Honorable PM to become Atmanirbhar is most appropriate and timely. This provides us a great opportunity to commit ourselves, to strengthen our capability, and to go ahead at a faster pace to attain our rightful place in this dynamic world. And I strongly believe that SMEs alone can do it. So I like to take you back to the earlier times when the Western world was growing. And why were they growing? They were growing because there was a group of dynamic people, so-called SMEs, and they were creating low-cost new developments, new solutions, and the industry partnered with them. And then together they were able to create value for each other. They became leaders in many other things. So the main point is that the SMEs are the real growth engine because they are a very dynamic group of very intelligent people, very highly motivated people. So that's why they can really bring in a change. Well, let's now talk that what will it require to have our right place in this dynamic world. And I think the number one point is that developing skills, and number two will be capability to continuously innovate in traditional and new areas. I think one of the main points in that is that till now we have been working in the ancillary culture mode, where somebody provides us a job, and then based on those designs, whether this is an international job or the domestic job, we provide those solutions to that suppliers. We supply those solutions, the SME supplies those solutions. And many of the times, the real capability of the SMEs, which they can really do, is not coming out in this form of in this mode of working. So I think we have to now, the SMEs will have to now think differently, and they have to see that how can they do the real value addition in these various areas. We all know that disruptions are growth engines, and we are living in the era of disruptions in every spheres of life, whether it's a technology or business models, any area, but there are a lot of disruptions happening. See how the disruption by COVID has really changed ourselves. We used to think that smart cities means only smart transportation, smart buildings, but we never thought that smart cities will require people not going to the office. You can work from the home. So this is the whole change of mindset. So this kind of disruption is bringing a total change in our thinking. That's what is a key. Now, For building capabilities on to continuously innovate, industry needs a place where they can go and give shape to their ideas. And for this purpose, the Ministry of MSME is working in creating large number of technology centers across the country as technology infrastructure. And we believe strongly that unless this kind of technology infrastructure is not available, we will not be able to use full potential of our industry. We already have 18 technology centers. 15 have additionally started working at a cost of around rupees 3,000 crore. We are setting up another 120 crore centers across the country at a cost of around 6,000 crores. And these centers are rather fully capable of providing assistance to the SMEs in new technology areas like AI, AR, VR, robotics, and they will also provide plug and play facility, and will also allow the industry to use these technology centers as their small manufacturing facilities. Now we have to see that we are in a very unique position. Our villages are growing faster than the cities. That's what is coming out, and with the digital things happening across the villages also, which Honorable PM recently announced, I think we have to really look into that particular market as well, that how can we create unique solutions for the villages, and these unique solutions have very important power to, we can scale them up and then take it to various heights. Today, the change is happening much faster than what it used to happen in the earlier times. So therefore, we need to find opportunities in the fast changing world rather than complaining that why this change is happening. And here I would like to share two stories with you. Recently, I was talking to one of my relation, a chartered accountant, and I asked that how's the industry doing. So he said, okay, the industry is doing pretty fine, but the one big change which is happening is that a shift from a group of industries to another group of industries. So when I asked that, please clarify on that. So he said, well, those industries which are digitized, they are growing faster now. And those industries which are not digitized, they are finding it very, very difficult to survive. And this took me back to the 1990 when I was posted in Varanasi. And I don't know how many of you have gone to Varanasi, but we have a place called Gadolia, which is the main market for all the clothing out there. So I was talking to one businessman there, and I said, how are the things going on? So he said, things are doing fine. So then I asked, what has happened? So he said, my son, who was not doing anything, he learned something on the computers, and then he forced us to buy a computer. And then one day we realized that our sale has grown. So we thought, what has happened? And then we started looking at our this computer, and we realized that we now know which saris are selling very well, and that's how my son was now handling this business. And we were really aghast that what kind of this machine is bringing a change. So that was good. But the next point which he brought was really fantastic. Then he said that all the nearby shopkeepers started looking at us that what is happening in my shop and how the sale is growing. And then they found that there's this new thing which has happened is a computer here. So then they said, yes, this is the computer which has brought in the change. And he said in next 6 months, every shop in the Gadolia area was having a computer. So that is the power of our people. So that is the power that we are really capable of, multiplying the innovations which happens around us. So this is which is very unique to Indians, and that's what we need to really catch on. That's what we need to encash upon. Well, we are passing through very interesting times called Industry 4.0, fourth industrial revolution. Digitization is really changing everything. And the good thing is that in the earlier three industrial revolutions, India was lagging behind the world for whatever the reasons may be. But today in the fourth industrial revolutions, we are not far behind. And particularly for the SME sector, I find that worldwide, wherever they are, we are also in the similar position, not behind. So we can really we can really take benefit of this situation and move much, much faster. I want to share here a small experience. Recently, the ministry has created a task force for what kind of initiatives we should take so that the SME sector can be benefited to really come into this industrial 4.0 areas. So one industry from Rohtak said that they were looking for various solutions for digitization of their factory, and to their surprise, one big company offered some cost X. And one startup in Bangalore through which they got the job done, it was at 1/100th cost. 1/100th cost. That was unbelievable. And that is the power of startups that we have. That is the power of intelligence that we have. There was a time when our IITs used to go to America, Europe. Then they started looking towards the bureaucracy and became the part of the bureaucracy. But now all these groups are now creating startup units. So we are having the best of the people in the startups. They can create really miracle. And in my own experience, when I was looking after CMD NSIC job, we got one offer for ERP across the organization for 100 crore rupees. And then we talked to our team. They said, "Sir, this is very costly. We'll do something more. We'll do something differently." And to my surprise, ultimately we gave the work for 1.33 crore. And last year the complete work was really implemented. So I was just keeping a tab on that, and that's real power. In this journey of talking to various industry, we also realized that how much is the cost towards the digitization, and how much is the benefits. And we discovered that the costs are in the range of around 2 to 3% of their existing machine and plant, and the benefits are in the range of 7 to 10%. So that's the real thing. And we also did we looked at various studies, and we found that this is one form which provides immediate visibility to the SME of what is happening at his shop floor, because many of the SMEs are small family-run programs, so they do not know what is happening on the shop floor, what is happening to the manpower. Some of the key manpower are so important that we can't allow them to be not available. So all these things you can just be comfortable without even your key manpower being there. You can know what is happening to your materials. You know what is happening to your machines, when are they due for maintenance and things like that. This is the real power which I thought I must tell you, and we can really work together to bring a change in the SME sector. Now, Government of India is very keen that SMEs come into the fray of Industry 4.0, and for that we are working to create a scheme, and then we're talking to various chambers, various associations, that how can we really make a change here. And we are now, these technology centers that we have, we are trying to set up some centers of excellence in various technologies for each of these technology centers. So some of these centers may be specialized in, let's say, IoT. Some of them may be in the AI, AR, VR, like that. So, and many of these may be having solutions in various sectors. And we are trying to take the cluster approach where we identify a few clusters, look at their problems, and then we try to find out what are the solutions which are best required to them. And here I share a small story of Surat. We did a small intervention in one company in Surat for energy efficiency, demonstrated the benefits in financial terms. And then we also had a small meeting of all the industry in that particular area. So 100 industries were invited to showcase this product on the energy efficiency. Payback was only 1 year. And you'll be happy to know that on the same very day, 54 industries said, we want this solution. So that is the model we are trying to, follow. That we showcase the product, we get it developed from the dynamic people, from the innovators, and then take it across the industry in the cluster mode. That's what is the thought we have. And I believe that in this journey of Industry 4.0, if we all work together, we'll be able to create a lot of value for each other. and make India competitive, Indian industry competitive for a very, very long time. Towards the end, I will say that I think it is the time for the industry to venture into Industry 4.0 solutions where the SMEs across the world had just started. And I think that if we act now, we can be leaders in manufacturing and service sectors with remaining competitive for a very long time to come. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sri Garg sir. Very useful and very important information you have shared. I'm sure that all the SMEs will be from India will be very happy to understand what are the benefits, what are the advantages, and what are the efforts and particularly initiative taken by the government and especially from Minister of MSME under the guidance of Sri A.K. Sharma ji and under your leadership. I'm sure that as you said that how to make SMEs competitive. And that is the most important things you have said that creating awareness about the advanced technology, how to to survive in this fourth industrial revolution, how to compete with the world market, how to compete with the local market, and somehow how to produce the quality product and enhance the productivity to meet the requirement of the local and global market. I'm sure that this is very interesting because Honorable Prime Minister, one vision is making MSMEs Atmanirbhar, and another vision is Honorable Prime Minister, that is a minimum government, maximum governance. In this regard, the person, the government officer who is putting efforts for to complete the dream of Honorable Prime Minister, that is Mr. Abhishek Singh. I would like to invite Sri Singh sir to to showcase the the initiatives and particularly the importance of the digital India and how this can be utilized for the digital India converting to digital SMEs, and how we can promote and how we can empower SME sector by utilizing the new ideas and concepts. Sri Singh Sahab, floor is open for you. Abhishek Singh, are you there? Okay, 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, you'll join. Okay. Meanwhile, Mr. Jonathan, you can before you join, Mr. Viren Joshi, would you like to ask any question to Sudhir Garg sir or Amit Gurau or Sushilkumar ji? Would you like to ask any question to Garg sir?
Just a quick comment, since I've met Mr. Sudhirji and I know his passion, I know his experience. Just very impressed with the comments he made and the examples he gave. And my message is really for all our colleagues in the SME and industry. I think the examples that Sudhirji gave are examples which we should all take to heart. I think his bottom line message, rightly so, the numbers are absolutely bang on. Spending, let's call it 2%, and getting savings of 7 to 10% is the formula. If one keeps that at heart, this is a no-brainer. It's an instantaneous need to implement. And the fun is you can implement it in so many small ways. That's what we've done across all our 18 factories globally. We put in small little examples of trying to complete the digitalization. I just want to leave all of you with a very small story. It's about the world's largest retailer, hardware retailer in the world. They were visiting my factory in India, in Pune, and we were trying to showcase to them our manufacturing. We were trying to show them how much of lean we have, how much of automation and robotics we have. And they were getting impressed because it's a beautiful factory that I was showing them. My team I was not aware of this. My team had organized that as this very senior executive was walking down the plant, suddenly from the side, an automated guided vehicle, an AGV, that normally moves around our factory, moved along in parallel with him, carrying, pulling material, and automated, no human being, obviously. I mean, that blew him away. I mean, he was really impressed. He had some very complimentary about the whole efficiency of digitalization that we had implemented. So again, in the end, for each SME, customers are going to be looking at what digitalization you have done, what you're doing, because that in everybody's mind translates into higher efficiency. So this whole message of digitalization is very important. So I just want to leave you with that thought. Back to you, Chandrakantji.
Thank you, Virenji. Garg Sahab, would you like to say something?
I think Virenji has said very correctly. Now, as Chandrakant you said that Honorable PM's point that minimum governance. So one of the points which we are now trying to see that how SMEs can get a lot of their clearances through digitization process. So we would like to have your input that where are the real pinpoints from the government side so that we can simplify those kind of things. I understand that some 24 clearances from the state government, 3 clearances from the central governments are required by the SMEs. And many of these, one of the typical I came to know is that the industry has to maintain some registers and somebody will come and inspect those registers. So in the digitized world, that is not required. I mean, everything can be digitized. So why registers? So those kind of things, if you can just tell us that where are the real pinching points, then we'll certainly work to remove those points.
The Honorable Prime Minister, when he was a Chief Minister of Gujarat, he has announced that, I think this is 12 years ago, that announced that the boiler operators, boilers those are having in their factory, they should give the self-certify copies or yearly. Because of that, the awareness created, because they can take care of their factory, they can create very good system for that. And this is the right you said that particularly this is a new thing which we want that everything should be online, digitized. Because of that, the reduction of the human touch or human errors or particularly interference will be not there. And most importantly, I would like to say that SME Technology Development Center, through that we are integrating the engineers, we are integrating the various top the companies, those are putting efforts for the advanced technology, creating the unique technology for MSME sector which is useful for the productivity and better services. That we would like to share with you a separate meeting. But I would like to assure you that whatever the services and the initiatives taken by the ministry, we are promoting amongst SMEs. We are creating awareness, and that is the right time now. We have to do it. And this is my suggestion to all the associations and the Chamber of Commerce, that government is creating platform. Government is bringing a lot of facilities and incentives and schemes. So SME should take aware. Garg साहब and Abhishek Singh साहब आपको information देना चाहता हूँ, because of the banking gap between banks and MSMEs. In 7 crore MSMEs and self-employed in India, hardly 45 lakh MSMEs are enjoying bank facility. So 6.5 crore MSME, where they are going for this purpose. This is a big gap. So we want to create a lot of awareness. Thank you very much. And I invite Abhishek Singh ji to share his thoughts. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry I had to go on a call on something which is relevant for MSMEs also, and the discussion that we're having. In fact, I must thank the Mr. Chandrakant, Salunkhe and your entire SME chamber for inviting me to this forum, and really to listen to Mr. Joshi and Mr. Sudhir Garg. It was interesting to know the great things being done by Mr. Joshi and the SME sector and Sudhir Garg's initiatives by the MSME ministry with regard to what all has been done, especially after the pandemic, because as we know, more than 30%, almost 30% of the GDP is contributed to MSMEs, and the investment per job created, like amount of investment required to create jobs is the lowest in MSME sector, and it makes a lot of sense for the government to incentivize the MSME sector. And as we all know, several decisions were taken in the Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign, which was announced by Honorable Finance Minister with regard to collateral-free loans or changing the definition of MSMEs to ensure that more enterprises benefit. So this has been the endeavor of the government to support them. So today what I will do is that since all of you are experts of MSMEs, instead of talking about what the MSME sector is and what the SME sector is doing for the economy, I will focus on how digital technologies are helping transform the sector and what all is happening around, especially with the initiative of Digital India, and what all is possible in future. So for ensuring that we stick to the time and to the subject, I will just share a few slides, and with that I will share, and if there are any questions, I'll be willing to take them. So let me share my screen. So if we see today, like the initiatives which are happening across, whether it's the private sector or whether it's on the government with regard to FASTag or with regard to e-payments, banking, there are a lot of initiatives which is happening by various entities in the for promoting the work which MSMEs do, and they all are relating to digital technologies. And when we talk of SMEs and we talk of digital transformation, the key elements there include how a service is delivered digitally. Today, we know that for any product that we buy or for any service we take, majority of them are serviced or provided by MSMEs, and they all have adopted digital technologies. Like, for example, this afternoon only, I was trying to get my air purifier repaired, and I found that the air purifier company had a chatbot on its portal, and it was very easy to communicate with the service agent. And compared this to calling a toll-free number or a charged number and waiting for 5-6 minutes to get us agent to come and reply to that. So what I mean to say is that digital services are becoming the way of life, not only in using technologies for e-commerce or for making digital payments, but even for providing basic services. Even smaller companies, MSMEs, are adopting digital, and digital is the way to go. Then the other important thing which has happened is the digital identity, especially with regard to projects like Aadhaar, which ended up in providing digital identities to every entity, every individual. Similarly, with the Udyog ID, and MSMEs also provide an ID to all the SMEs. So it becomes easier for them to track what they do, and how they interact with each other. Then the digital public procurements, which has become the norm. Government set up several initiatives, right from ensuring e-procurements, which ensured the tenders were fair and transparent, and to the building of a platform like GEM, which has revolutionized all government procurements. And there a special benefit is given to MSMEs in order to ensure that they get their fair share on digital procurements, the procurements the government does in a digital way. Then digital payments instruments have become very common. Like today, the UPI transactions are exceeding the regular transaction, the cash transactions, or even the credit card transactions. So the payment interface which has been built up in India, which is unique because the digital payment space, I don't think any other country in the world has this kind of these many products wherein you can make even small value transactions, like even 10 rupee transactions can be done through whether it's the Bheem app or the Paytm or the PhonePe or the Aadhaar enabled payment systems. The digital payment instruments are also benefiting MSMEs in a big way. And if you look at the way even weavers and weavers and artisans, the way they are using digital payments, it's really transforming their lives. So markets have opened up. I know of entrepreneurs in remote locations like Nagaland, and from there they are able to sell their products to anyone, anywhere in the country. So digital payments ensures that transactions become transparent. Then the digital tax instruments, like there are so many benefits which the government is giving, especially with regard to the champion sector scheme. If you go to champions.mygov.in, the entire user experience for MSME has become very smooth and very easy. The GSTN network, the ease of filing taxes, the steps taken to improve ease of doing business are all leveraging digital technologies in improving the functioning of MSMEs. Then the next step that we are also working on is like, how do we ensure that digital technologies are used for enabling better access to credit to MSMEs, and also to build a integrated logistics platform, so that if an MSME has to access services digitally, and suppose he has to get a FASTag or do a road transportation or do a shipping, do a movement by ship for any export, or do a railway transaction, can there be a common unified portal or interface wherein all logistics related services can be offered in an integrated manner? So these are the last 2 points, are the points on which we are working currently to make that happen and make that a reality. So if I go step by step, the digital services we look at digital services, the ambit of digital services has really expanded in the last few years. If you look at the number of digital transactions, the common service centers, for example, which are providing digital services in villages, we have a network of almost 3,67,000 common service centers in the villages, and almost all gram panchayats are covered in the country. And if you look at the e-Grameen initiative with the CSC launched, in which a lot of MSMEs use the CSC as an outlet for distribution of their products, and they achieved a turnover of more than 100 crores in just a couple of months. So number of transactions are increasing exponentially. If I look at the services which have been enabled for with Umang platform, for example, on Umang platform, the mobile app that we have developed in Digital India, the Umang had 643 services in March 2020, and today the number of services has gone up to more than 2,000. The 2,039 services are available on the Umang platform, and the services include services with the EPFO, ESIC, Jeevan Praman and all. So these services are accessed by not only MSMEs but even employees of MSMEs. And whether it's utility bill payments or digital literacy or government certificates or face masks, the number of services which are available today through a smartphone, through the Umang platform or the common service centers is many. And so not only contributing to improving the ease of living for citizens, but also creating employment for many. The digital identity, the one that we have today, it has really facilitated the way we run a business, the way we operate a enterprise, the Aadhaar based or the identity system. Today it ensures that the KYC norms are met very easily. So whenever there is an insurance company or whenever there is a service provider for providing any customer related product in any sector, the identity of a customer, the identity of a citizen, the identity of a beneficiary is done very easily with the Aadhaar based authentication system. And this has led directly to the growth of not only the mobile connections in India, but also the direct benefit transfers, which has enabled ensuring that everybody gets access to benefits that are due to them without any delay, and the money is transferred directly to the bank accounts. So whenever a scheme is implemented with a KYC, it becomes very easy to onboard, whether it's Manrega, whether it's PM Kisan, the beneficiary's identification becomes very easy. PAN becomes very easy today. If you have an Aadhaar, you get PAN instantly. So this kind of e-services, this kind of digital services is transforming the way the government is offering services to the citizens. Then we have e-sign service providers for ease of digital transactions. For example, filing of taxes. There was a time when one had to deposit, say, income tax returns at a common income tax service collection points at Pragati Maidan. Then it went to sending them by post after filing e-taxes to CPC Bangalore. And now you can just e-sign with use of Aadhaar number, and it gets credited, it gets submitted to the income tax office instantly, and the refunds come very quickly. The Aadhaar-enabled payment system, which is being used at several parts of the country, wherein your thumb becomes the credit card, wherein you don't need to remember any PIN, you just need to have your thumb, and if you go and put your thumb, it will identify you, it will identify the bank account that you have, and it will enable you to draw money from the Aadhaar-enabled payment system ATMs, which is very useful for people who are not literate, people who are not able to keep track of their cards, people who are not able to remember their PINs. This is really helping in enabling services in those sectors. The Jeevan Praman, which is again for pensioners, government pensioners especially, wherein they have to give a proof of that they are alive every year. So this also is facilitated with the Jeevan Praman system, in which sitting at home you can prove with your Aadhaar number and a biometric device linked to your phone or computer that you are alive and and your pension should continue to be credited. These are various initiatives for digital identity, which is transforming services. Then what it does is that it reduces the cost of customer acquisition. Like if you look at Jio, the speed at which they could acquire customers, or Airtel or Vodafone, by use of digital identities, it really helps in onboarding users, doing KYC, opening of bank accounts. Otherwise, to get all the documents, signed and attested by gazetted officers and submitted, it used to take a lot of time. So this digital identities has really reduced the time taken for acquisition of customers, and the cost of KYC also has come down to from almost 200 to 300 rupees to rupees 1 now. Then the digital procurements about which I spoke about, the government tenders, and they are all e-tenders now, and wherein there are specific clauses which give benefit to MSMEs, which allow the exemption from EMD, giving preference to them, giving benefits to startups. So several benefits are there in the general financial rules, which allows preferred procurement from MSMEs. And I think almost every procurement, we have to ensure that 20% of the contract value goes to MSMEs. Then the Central Public Procurement Portal was enabling that. And now we have government e-marketplace, wherein when MSMEs are listed on priority, and there is a significant number of orders which goes to MSMEs on the government e-marketplace portal. The e-market portal in the last 4 years, it has really transformed the procurement cycle in the government. The time taken to do procurements has really come down. And then we have like almost 48,000 government organizations which are buying things. There are more than 7,40,000 sellers on the GEM portal, and the total transactions that have happened in this year only has been 71,000 crores orders have been placed on the GEM portal. And out of this, 42,000 crores orders have been given to MSMEs. So GEM has really revolutionized the way procurement takes place in the government. Then I spoke about the digital payment instruments, how they are transforming payments, whether it's the BHIM or the Aadhaar-enabled payment system or the Bharat QR or the toll plazas, the National Electronic Toll Collection or the Bharat Bill payment systems. All of it is enabling easy payments, easy transactions, and ensuring that there is no loss to the MSME in getting the money that is credited to them. So very often, if payments were done by checks or by any other means, sometimes it used to take 1 to 2 days to get the money credited. But with digital payments, it comes instantly, and there is total transparency and total ease of collecting money by using digital means. The UPI, as I mentioned, has transformed. There's no other country which has got a UPI kind of system, which is ensuring just in month of October, there were almost 4 lakh crore transactions happened. And the amount, the 4 lakh crore is the transaction volume of transactions, and 207 crore transactions happened, and 189 banks are live on this system. So this is really helping businesses to come on board. If you look at the new WhatsApp Pay which has been launched, that's also helping small businesses, bakeries, carpenters, plumbers, electricians, all of them to offer their services and collect payments in a digital way, which is very simple, connected to their mobile phone without having to buy a POS machine or without needing any additional infrastructure for doing digital payments. The GSTN network, about which I mentioned about, ensures very seamless and hassle-free compliance of the GST law, and it ensures that number one, under GSTN law, a lot of benefits are given to MSMEs. Only those who are above a particular value of transactions, they are required to file the returns. And there also, the submission of GST returns has been facilitated greatly, wherein it doesn't require too much of complication to do that. So then there are a lot of companies which have been designated as the GST Suvidha providers, who provide other service providers in order to help the MSMEs. And the way the software has been built, the way the design has been done with an objective of making it easier to adopt and making it more beneficial. And the value it offers is that, of course, it becomes easy to get your input tax credits and ensure that there's no harassment, and ensures that online you are able to track how much GST you have paid, how much input tax credit is due, and how much benefits you can get. So almost every MSME has benefited. Yes, there were certain glitches in the initial implementation of the systems, but with over time, this is getting stabilized and helping people access and pay taxes and meet the compliance norms in an easy manner by using digital technologies. The key issues about which we need to work for in the future, about which work is going on. I was just, in fact, in a meeting today on the logistics platform that we are building, which will integrate the transport and trade, which will ensure that whether it is FASTag, whether it is GST, whether it's booking a parcel, whether it's moving something through road, moving something through rail, or moving something through air cargo, or moving something through ships, everything will be integrated, and the MSME or the business enterprise who is wanting to avail the service can go to one portal, register itself, and access all the services in an integrated, seamless manner and track its entire business by accessing the services on the logistics platform. The other important thing that's on which work is going on is to build up an account aggregator platform which will ensure credit-based lending. So that whichever MSME deserves a finance from a bank, it should not be very complicated. Credit should be extended in time, in the right quantity, the right quantum, and without any hassles. So account aggregator and logistic platforms are something that's work in progress. And very soon, when this becomes a reality, the MSMEs will be able to truly harness the potential of digital technologies. So I had these few points to share with you today. And if there are any questions, I'd be willing to take them.
Thank you very much, Singh sir. Very, very interesting and very informative. The suggestions and even the services you are providing to the industry, particularly SME sector, and the platform created by the ministry and government is very, very interesting and useful for the SME sector. Garg sir, would you like to say something?
I think it's a fantastic job being done by MIT, and we are working closely with them to create various solutions, work with industry, so that together we can go ahead.
Okay. Virenji?
I am totally blown away. I will just compliment Abhishek ji. Amazing, wonderful presentation. I can only say it just makes all of us proud of what the government and all of you are doing. And I could maybe very comfortably say I don't think any country in the world would be able to showcase such a presentation in terms of the scope, the scale, the speed, the ease of what all of you have put together. It's amazing, and I'm really impressed. I've had an experience of some of these services, but I mean the scope of what you just explained today is amazing, and I hope. For me, the message again is back to industry, back to SMEs. When the government can do such a wonderful job, I think it's the turn of industry now to take the lead from here, take advantage of the skills, of the scope, of the scale of what the government has done, and try and hook into that system, into that ecosystem, and try and take the benefit of it, try and ride along with it, try and ensure that we also jump onto this digital bandwagon.
Thank you. Thank you. This is a rather right time, to make Indian SME as a digital SMEs. And I'm sure that the Abhishek Singh Saab and the Sudhir Garg, they will take more initiative and more, bringing some ideas where we can, develop different types of platform where we can plan something. Thank you, Singh Saab. I know that you want to leave. But thank you very much. But we will come back to you with some new ideas, new concepts, which will be useful for the bringing up the platform. And I'm sure that minimum government, maximum governance. This concept, this idea will be definitely useful for the SME sector, for the reduction of the errors, reduction of the human harassment, and particularly removing the Inspector Raj, particularly to smooth smooth services and activities. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So, friends, we have today, we want to understand from the particularly the industry perspective. We have shared some poll, some link that which of the following challenges you face for the investing in technology: lack of organization support, knowledge of the right technology for your organization, lack of capital and financials, rapid changes in technology, right partner to provide customer solutions. So you have to answer on that. Second is, which technology trend is helping for your industry, grow at a different level in this year. Which work from home, collaborations and the conferencing platforms, digital presence and e-commerce, marketing and CRM technology. Next is the security solutions for the remote access. And next is the artificial intelligence and the machine learning. And another very interesting point is that what is the key focus area of your organization? Increasing sales, exponential growth, expansion reach, customer experience, data security, compliances, and optimizing cost or asset or resources productivity. I'm sure that most of the speakers are looking for more ideas and support services or a very unique concept and idea. But the most important thing is the IoT. And artificial intelligence also the playing very important role. For that purpose, I would like to invite Jonathan Burke to share his thoughts, particularly how the AI is useful, because your company is putting a lot of efforts for the transformation to digitization to the empowerment. So I would like to invite you to share your thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the introduction and the opportunity to speak here today. Really appreciate that, and I've thoroughly enjoyed the speeches so far, and I agree with an awful lot of what people are saying here, and it's great to see that everybody's on the same page in terms of where India can go. I think it's very important that India really absorbs and really adapts into the artificial intelligence realm, and not to be afraid of it, and to really embrace it, because India has a massive opportunity to become one of the leading nations in terms of artificial intelligence. And they need to really embrace it, which they are doing, and is one of the reasons why we have two sectors over there at the moment as well. There's no need to be afraid of artificial intelligence. There is no Terminator coming anytime soon. Arnold Schwarzenegger was wrong. And there's nothing to be afraid of, and let's all embrace it. I have a small presentation just to explain a little bit of what our company do, and it moves into a sector that may affect some of the people here from an SME point of view, as in we deal mostly in the retail sector, and also involved in the logistical and queue management and floor space of the retail sector. So just a small presentation that I have just to take you through a little bit of what we do, and we'll then explain exactly how we do it in terms. Okay, so the company,
you can see.
Brilliant, excellent. So the company is EVERSEEN here, which you see, and we work in visual AI. And you see the quote underneath is "seeing is delivering," because I think a lot of people need to see how AI can affect certain aspects of business, and also how it can impact places that maybe people aren't as familiar with. And I want to take you through a little bit of what we do today without going into too much detail, because obviously it would take a few hours and we only have a little bit of time. So EVERSEEN has quickly deployed AI at scale. As you can see here, we've ended up in the Wall Street Journal, the Progressive Grocer. You can see some of our clients are mentioned in this slide. We work with Walmart, we work with Kroger. As you can see at the moment, we're working with 16 of the top 50 world retailers from the Deloitte project. So 57% of all the US grocery spend is covered by EVERSEEN at the moment. So we're in a massive scale inside the US. We're lucky in terms of the current pandemic that the grocery sector and the retail sector, in terms of grocery, in terms of Walmart and these large clients which are in the US, was largely unaffected by the pandemic in terms of spend, and people were actually going out and spending an awful lot more because they were kind of panic buying, etc., and everything like that. So at the moment, EVERSEEN is thriving, and so is the retail sector, and AI is playing a massive part in it. At the moment, we're tracking over 160 million codes per day going through the checkouts, which is a massive amount. And if you can see here now. So previously, people were unknown as to how shrinkage was affecting. Now, shrinkage, when we talk about shrinkage, we're talking about stock loss inside retail sectors. And here we can see that EVERSEEN now has tens of thousands of data from checkouts all around the world, and we now know the truth. So the Center for Retail Research, as you can see on the first part of this slide here, tell us that the shrink is reported in public industry as 1.49%. Okay. Now at the manned lanes, which is a checkout, when you come to the checkout, there's somebody there to actually put through your groceries, run your bill, and do everything like that, which are now on the way out. And we see that the self-service checkouts are coming in, and the same is starting to happen in India also. We found that 2.21% of these transactions have errors or missed scanned items, where the company has lost that product or lost the value of that product, which leads to massive shrinkage for these companies. Now, at the self-service checkouts, where you go up to a self-service checkout, and I'll show you an example in a second, and you actually serve yourself and you do the whole transaction yourself. You pay with a card at the end, you pay with your Google Pay, Apple Pay, Paytm, as it may be, whatever it is. We observed that 3.79% of transactions have incidents at the self-checkout, And these could be observed and avoided using the EVERSEEN solution. Again, here you'll see that we have real data here, okay? And you can see that we've done a little graph here where you can see it pre and post COVID, okay? So what we have here is a breakdown of the loss that was implemented pre and post COVID. And if you look at the very first one, it's a very interesting one. You can see that before the pandemic, you can see that it was almost at around the 4% mark. And post COVID, the stock loss at the point of sale has gone up to almost 6%. And incidents per transaction again, pre-COVID, just above 1.4, coming up on 1.5, and right now escalating up to almost a 2.2 missed items per transactions, or 2.2 incidents per transaction, which means that the revenue for the client has been lost in 2.2 almost products in one single transaction, which is a massive loss inside the sector. And to put a value on that per incident, value in USD would be coming up now on $4, whereas pre-COVID it was much less. That means obviously that there's a lot more dishonesty coming. People are a lot busier, so the shops are busier, they're rushing things, they're making errors. There's people being dishonest, there's people struggling for money and trying to get things through in a different way. And we're spotting a massive, massive upsurge in that. This is how it works. So EVERSEEN stops the shrink incidents, which is the stock loss, before it happens. So what we do is we actually, this is a self-service checkout where you actually serve yourself. So you go up, there's no interference from the people at the checkout. You just serve yourself, pay with your mobile phone or your card, whichever way you choose. And you see here that we make it here. So you have the EVERSEEN solution, which is completely AI-based, tracks everything from that. Now, usually it would take staff members a lot of time and effort to be hovering around this area and making sure that everything is going okay. But what EVERSEEN is doing is now improving the margins for the customer and improving the margins in retail so that it frees up their staff to work on the customer-centric and focus on getting the best service available for the customer, and they don't have to waste their time on worrying about these things because EVERSEEN will fix it all. What it also does here over the course of time is that it changes how the customer behaves, and it changes the customer behavior. And again, it's an ever learning process, just like all AI is, because the customers that are dishonest will find other ways of trying to beat the system. EVERSEEN adapts to that, and we do constant analysis on what is being done at the checkouts, and we adapt our AI and move on and tackle the next problem as it goes. But it has a massive, massive impact on the sector for the client and their margins. And the next slide, you can see here that the ROI, the return on investment, that is unheard of in the retail space. So by stopping the stock loss and the customer friction in real time, EVERSEEN directly and quickly impacts the bottom line. It drives higher sales and margins for retailers. And you can see the effect of that in just under 10 weeks' time. So what we do is we do a learning period, we embed our artificial intelligence, which I'll go through a little bit in a second. And the savings per store for a very large retail store, if we take a Walmart as an example, as I mentioned earlier, would be up to $4,000 per week, and an uplift of scale between 0.5% of their revenues and 20%. Now, anyone that knows anything in the retail sector, that is a massive improve on your margin and a huge deterrent. And it's very important to remember that that's all driven through artificial intelligence. Now, visual AI is the point of solution. So this is here, it's a very simple, we've simplified it obviously. So we have our own visual AI patented here up the top, which is the EVERSEEN solution. It's a single source. So what we do is we put in our sensors and our cameras at the point of sale. The visual AI brings it in. We configure it, we data engineer it, process engineer it, we do some deep learning on it, we see what comes back out of that, we engineer the AI through annotation and data analytics and everything like that, and we roll it out to the customer. And it's a never-ending cycle because it's constantly improving, constantly getting better, and providing an even better solution to our customers worldwide. And that's a very, very simplified draft of what it is that we do. So what it does is attacks three critical areas, and one is the reduce of the shrinkage, which I've spoken at length about, and the second is the inventory accuracy, which one of our speakers spoke about earlier, which really interested me that they're doing it with the drone and everything like that in a manufacturing setting, we can actually do it with artificial intelligence, and we're involved in a number of logistical projects there where we can attack the back door and the warehouse sector for these large retailers, and also monitor their inventory and see if everything is being managed correctly, and make sure that everything is moving as it should be. We can also track their deliveries coming in and make sure that that's all correct and that all the protocols are being put in place, and that everything is being done as it should be, which is a massive and a hugely growing sector, and massive opportunity for growth for us. The other one is the process automation and robotics when it comes to the shop floor and queues. Obviously, these retailers want to cut down on customer friction, which we mentioned earlier. So we watch their queue timings. We can give them reports on all that. We can manage the queuing systems. We can tell them which parts of the shop floor are busy, etc. We can automate anything that we want to, including car park spaces, automation outside there, queue management. Absolutely everything can be done with artificial intelligence. And this is exactly where it is going. No, that's a brief overview, very, very brief overview of what it is EVERSEEN does. Now, what I wanted to do was tell you a little bit about just artificial intelligence and where I think it's going, and where India can most certainly capitalize on AI. So obviously, artificial intelligence has grown massively over the course of the last 20 years, really. It started out, we must remember, just being adapted to play chess and the game Go, where it would learn the moves of the chessboard, it would do all this, and it ended up after a few years being able to beat world champions and everything like this in chess. But it's moving at pace, which you'll see in point 2 there, through deep learning and computer vision. And I guess the best example of this is car driving. So if you think of how we learn how to drive a car, we go through lots of tests, we go through we meet an instructor, we go and we drive a car, but AI is doing it through making the mistakes. So they're actually in these test environments, they're crashing the cars, they're doing everything, and they're adapting the AI to make that even better. And that's industry-wide, that's everywhere. They're doing that at the moment. And it's constantly learning and adapting and unfolding massive territory now, and really overtaking all things. So it's really an exciting time, and it's moving at a frantic pace. But again, nothing to be afraid of. As we said, it is going to start doing a lot of automation, but at the moment where AI does struggle a little bit is in the cognitive sector, where you need human interference and stuff like that. But it's an incredibly interesting part. The one thing that we did is we came to India 12 years ago. We now have offices in Pune and our new facility opening in Hyderabad, where we'll have we'll have almost 1,000 staff by January end this year. So I think that India really need to capitalize on the AI. We can see that a lot of it is being done. I know Microsoft are there doing artificial intelligence. Uber have done a lot of their artificial intelligence there. But I think India has, from what we found, the talent, the resources, the community, the governance, and everything to really, really push it forward and make India a real country that everyone thinks of when the words AI are mentioned. We have it. We have all our artificial intelligence and all our annotation work in terms of our artificial intelligence is for the most part done in India. And the reason for that is the people, the infrastructure there, and the governance that's there, and how easy India is making it for us to do business. I can only congratulate people that are on the call for what they've done over the years, because the changes I have seen in the last 12 years have been incredible, which has led our company to increase its footprint in India and drastically increase our staffing levels over there and create big employment in India, which we plan on expanding. So congratulations to all, but let's keep that moving and keep India where it deserves to be. And I think everyone has said that correctly today when they say that India can be at the front line here when it comes to artificial intelligence, and they can combat with any country. And I really hope that everyone drives that forward and realizes that and embraces artificial intelligence. Thank you all for your time, and I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Jonathan. Very interesting and very useful information you had given now. And taking forward, I would like to suggest you rather a proposal from my SME Chamber of India that how we can create one module for SME sector, particularly since in the presence of Sri Sudhir Garg, who is the right government officer who is putting efforts for the bringing technology, the government and the industry, SME sector together for the creating the new concept, new ideas and new platform for empowering SMEs, making them competitive. So I suggest you bring some idea where we can utilize your knowledge, your skill, and your scale of your company, particularly for SME sector. The same where AI or any other fourth industrial revolution, which we are going to take forward, where we can utilize. Garg sir, would you like to say something on his presentation?
Yeah, I think 2 points I would like to mention. Number one, many times it is said that AI is for large corporations, not for the SMEs. So I would like to listen your reaction to that. And number two, I feel that digitalization has the capability to not only build or create efficiencies in the existing systems, but it can allow you to create new business models. And yes, when the new business models and new technologies work together, it is there that you have growth, multifold growth. So just these two quick comments. Thank you.
Jonathan, would you like to say?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, in terms of the SME business, I did mention in my presentation very, very large corporations like Walmart, etc. But our AI is also applicable to local retailers. So we actually have a number of local retailers here in Ireland and in Europe that would operate one shop. So we'd have shop owners that would only have one store, and they actually have our solution inside in the store. So that they can monitor that, because the cost saving and the margin saving, which I mentioned, is very, very applicable to even one single retailer. And we make it very affordable when you're doing it on that scale. So in terms of that, from an artificial intelligence point of view, from an SME point of view, it's very applicable to a normal retailer. In terms of manufacturing, like we mentioned there with the inventory inside in a logistics area, or be it like that, SME and stuff like that, I mean, from the manufacturing point of view, the opportunity is really endless in terms of artificial intelligence, because you can monitor everything. You can monitor the logistics, you can monitor your stock rotation, you can monitor your performance, you can monitor the output, you can do anything that you really want to. So the benefits for any SME in AI are really, they're endless. They're really endless. And I think it's very important that we embrace it. And I think India has an awful lot of startups in this sector as well. And they can really, really capitalize on this kind of revolution that's going on right now, and really lead the way, not just in India, but worldwide.
Okay. Sushilkumar ji, would you like to ask any question to Mr. Jonathan related to AI?
Most of the things which Jonathan has cleared, but only one thing which is there, AI, which is there, most of the SMEs would like to adopt AI, which is we can use their workloads or probably distribute their workloads. So is there any model specifically looking as India as a region and to cater the SMEs? There are various businesses which are there. There are logistic businesses, there are retail businesses. So any specific model for the SMEs we are proposing for the India region, India terrain?
I think you broke up a little bit there, but I think you were asking where were they concentrated in terms of the SME model. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Specifically concentration on the India SME market.
Yeah, so obviously I've dealt in the retail stuff there, but I think the biggest opportunity for India, which we speak on there, is the logistical point. I really do. I think the logistical and manufacturing capabilities of AI would change the game inside in India and really make them compete, like what we said with Alibaba earlier, where they've taken massive strides. I think India can really, with the workforce that is available there and the talent pool and the education level that's available there, they have a huge opportunity to really take that on. And I think small and medium enterprises can really flourish there, because what you're doing is you need to watch if we take it from a retail perspective or a perishable good perspective, you can put artificial intelligence and everything into stock rotation, ensuring everything is staying fresh. You can adapt it into the farming sectors. You can adapt it into the manufacturing sectors. It's endless, but I would think that India is best poised for the manufacturing and the logistical sector and the service sectors, because it has such a massive foothold in that worldwide at the moment.
Okay. Virenji, your comments.
I would just say that what Jonathan just mentioned and the services he provides are something I experience every day out here, Walmart and other supermarkets, and I think it's an outstanding technology, it's an outstanding service, and exactly what other colleagues were saying. I think bringing that into India would be a big advantage going forward. It won't be easy, I'm going to admit that, but I think it would be a great advantage to bring that into India. That sort of service would make a big difference to the whole shopping experience, to the whole efficiency of the industry. And as Jonathan rightly mentioned, focusing that then on logistics and all other support services could be a big advantage. So I can see tremendous advantage coming from this. And what our colleague just said, if Jonathan and his team believe there's an opportunity to do more in India by tying up with industry, tying up with SMEs, what Sudhirji rightly asked him, I think that would be a huge opportunity for his company also to come forward.
Okay. Moving to other speaker, before that, I would like to suggest two things to Sri Garg Sahab. Let me take today's opportunity to share my thoughts. Most of the MSMEs in India, those are involved in the manufacturing industry, they are not allocating the funds for particularly innovation, invention, and research. And there are plenty of services available. Even Minister of MSME has also set up various platforms, various the research center, development center. But most of the MSMEs are not understanding how to avail that services. Rather, in Mumbai, there is a DI office, and they have one setup. Rather, that can be enhanced very well level with putting all the latest advanced technology, latest information, and where MSME can go research, because most of the MSME cannot put money or allocate funds for the development and research. Where I would like to suggest why government are not taking more initiative. Rather, already have done a lot of things, but where we can support MSMEs for a quality productivity, efficient in a particularly in the like a competition with the China, Korea, Japan, European countries. So this is my suggestion to you, sir.
I agree with that.
Okay. Mr. Sushilkumar ji, you can come down and you can give your presentation.
Sure. Thank you so much. I'll just present my slide. So it's a warm evening, which is there with wonderful insights from all the speakers, from the government aspect, the governance, which is there. At the same time, on the AI, we want to get insight about the MSMEs and how they can adapt to the AI as well as the governance. Going a step ahead, we as a Tata Tele Services, we have a theme called as Do Big, wherein this is the engagement to various bodies which are there. So there is MSME which is there, MSME chambers, and we through this event we showcase our services. At the same time, we come up with our solutions. We keep on innovating these solutions basis of the need of the market as well as the industry segments which is there. So coming up, so this is the theme which is there. There is a smart grid with the next generation in telecommunication. So going on to the slide, that this is the art of the life, or you can say you learn, you live, and you evolve. So products also needs to evolve as per the market conditions, whether they are the natural based, or there are something a dynamic change in the market which is there. But it needs to evolve as per the needs of the customers or as per the need of the market. So agenda of discussion will be technology landscape, a snapshot about the SME landscape, challenge faced by SMEs and smart products, showcasing our products, and the question and answers. So the only thing that is in the life which is there, the change is the constant. And now we're adding another statement to this sentence which is there, that is a disruption. Because in coming 10 to 15 years, 20 years, we are seeing a lot of technology disruptions, digitalizations has got calls to this market. So in that, the last big description that changed our lifestyle was the basic thing, cash to cashless. We used to carry the, if you see 20, 25 years back, we used to carry the cash bags which is there, or pocket which is there. Now we have moved into completely from ATMs, UPI apps, King app, which is there, where you can easily do a transaction, cashless transactions using the various sources which are there to digitalization. What is next? The biometric authentication, as you said rightly, by our governments, is the thumb which is there, the thumb impression which is there, or your eye impression, that is a biometric authentication, is your primary authentication through which you can explore all the transactions which are there. So that is coming to basis of our e-governance projects which are being rolled out in coming years which are there. So the impacts of the pandemic, to talk of this, you can say the current talk which is there, the pandemic, has affected across all the enterprises. In that, you can see that the employees who are majorly affected, the supply chain, the operations of the company, the manufacturing, the management, and the customers. So it has a 360-degree affected across all the industries. And these are, the prima facie factors which are there: the employees, the supply chain, the operations, the management, and customers. So these have been affected by this pandemic. So we'll take just a small overview about the small medium enterprises which played a crucial role in the socio-economic development of India. So these are, some figures which are there. Contribution of SMEs in Indian market. The Indian SME market value is, $5 billion, which is there. In which, these are the points which are there in front of the screen. The industrial output is 44%, exports is 40%, industrial units 95%. Employment generation by an SME is 4 times higher than the large enterprises. Imagine 42 million, which is there, and the products are more than 8,000 year on year, which they come up with this. These are the some of the 5 guidelines which is there. Instead of challenges to SME, I would say in a different way. The 5 simple guidelines on technology for an SME. They need to follow this. One first guideline is rent it, own it. So you go for an OPEX model rather than on a CAPEX model. Put more into the operational expenditure. So you don't have to worry about the obsolescence of the equipment or the services or the software which is there. So technology is not a real estate, which is rightly said, which cannot be appreciated. So don't go for an CAPEX model. Go only for an OPEX model. Select fit for purpose versus scale down large solutions. So go for a unique solution and a simple solution, wherein it is fitting your purposes and it takes care about your current requirement and the coming 2-3 years down the requirement which is there. Go for a oversized solution which is there, which may not misfit, and for your budget, at the same time for your performance which is there. Bill as you do, pay as you use. So pay as you use. Go for a model where you can use pay as you bill as you grow. That is how the company, how it grows year on year. According to that, you go with the services or the solution which is there. So that unused capacity, which is costly or which is a revenue pilferage or revenue leakage, can be avoided. Use your capex to grow your core business rather than putting on digitalization on that capex. You put onto your core business. For example, if it is a garment industry, put more onto the garment related businesses which is there. Or if it is into a manufacturing plant of certain equipment, so you can go for the equipment rather than putting extra money onto the IT which is there. Look for an integrated solution versus the siloed products. So in general, what we look is go for a solution which can be integrated with the current ecosystem and which can help you to excel your business from X to 10X, which is there, rather than going for a standalone silo solutions, which may cause trouble or while integrating with your current ecosystem. Ensure there is a support. So whenever you take a services, whether it's a hardware or software or a cloud-based service, ensure that it has around about 24/7, 365 days support. So whenever it gets stuck, you get a support right away, and it can ensure you have much downtime, the minimal downtime which you are suffering across the year, which is there. So our strengths as a Tata Tele Services business services, this is a chart which is there. So we as a Tata Tele Services, we have close to 1,25,000 optical fiber, which is owned by us. We have a strong team, enterprise team of 1,500 enterprise teams over there. We have a customer base of 33,000 plus. Plus, we have our services which are there. So on a monthly basis, there is 60,000 field visits which are there. We have a connected buildings, 43,000 plus, so wherein that ensure that each and every offices of yours are being connected. We have presences across India, that is 60 plus cities. So in this 60 plus cities, it is a combination of tier 1, tier 2, and tier 4 cities which are there. Plus, we have a strong sales force of 400 plus partner managers which are there, which can ensure whatever the requirement which is there, that can be answered and that can be catered. So, do with smart solutions. So, our theme is on a smart solutions. So, what is a smart solution? What does it mean to you? So, that is the answer which is there. Next slide. Smart solutions is our product portfolio which is there. We have divided our products into 5 categories which are. We have a total product, all the services solutions, that is close to 55 hours. In that, we have we have segregated them into 5 categories. Connectivity, the IoT solutions, that is Internet of Things solutions, the marketing solutions, the collaboration solutions, and the cloud and the SaaS platform. So connectivity is on voice, data. So there is, in data, if you see, there is a normal internet design. MPLS VPN, we have various variants of MPLS technologies as a last mile. We have voice technology, basic PRI or a primary data interface. We have SIP trunks, that is a cutting edge technologies, that is IP trunk. We have amalgamation of internet design and the SIP trunk onto a same box, that is called as a smart office. We have L2 multicast, predominantly for the multi-service operator customers, business broadband, Centrex, the cloud-based PBX which is there. We have IoT solutions, where in IoT solutions, we cater various management which is there. One is the asset management, where we can track your assets, which is on the fleet. There is a fleet management, where we can track your people or the workforce across the various destinations. We have a school bus tracking, which is there, so which can cater the tracking of school buses, the kids who are traveling to school buses, which are there. We have a marketing solutions portfolio, which has various services like grocery services. There's a cloud phone services, that is a cloud-based call center, which we can extend to your premises, work from home. We'll be having a discussion onto the coming slides which are there. We have the live chat solution, which can be integrated with your existing application or your websites which are there. And we have SMS solutions. The collaboration services, there is audio and web conferencing solutions. There is an international bridging services, which helps you out to connect globally as well globally across various customer base. We have a web broadcasting services, which will help you to broadcast certain messages to more than 5,000 to 10,000 people on a single platform. We have a cloud and SaaS solutions, where we have multiple data centers through which you can host your instances, that is server instances, computing instances. We have our own CRM, so that can be helpful for the right from the sales cycle, right from the sales cycle in the support cycle. We have an endpoint security to ensure that your devices are secured, accessing remotely. We have a couple of other solutions in our portfolio. So this is in a nutshell our complete product portfolio, wherein whichever the solution as per the required, as per the industry and as per the requirement, we have the best fit solution across. So starting with we can choose certain solutions, that is a smart VPN. The smart VPN is our name or a brand name given to MPLS technology. So we will understand how it works. The smart VPN services, your HO head office, which is there, you can see in the front of you the diagram. When you have a HO and you have offices which are there. Now these offices which are there, these are across India. This can be a tier 1 city, tier 2 city, and tier 3 city. Now they can be connected onto our network, that is an on-net. They can be connected to our partner provider network, that is a last mile. rent out the last mile of another provider, and we connect it to our platform which is there. Now this offnet, though it is the another partner, still we ensure the SLA and the uptimes are appropriate and up to the mark which is there. Then there is an extranet solution which is there. This extranet solution which is there, that can be extended for the warehouse offices, the POS, that is point of service which is there, or the remote services, and the remote locations which are there, that is working from home. So this, all are the modes of last miles which are there, which can be through which your offices, your warehouses, your point of services, and as well as your remote offices can be connected to the head office, and they can access each and every applications as such. So this is completely, the smart VPN has a power to connect to various available last miles to connect to the head office. Now the smart VPN which is there, it switches of a wireless last mile, feasibility anywhere, everywhere. So which is wireless data VPN which is there. It is predominantly used through the SIM-based last mile or a mobile SIM-based last mile, wherein you can connect your small offices where either the wired or the wireless, the traditional wired or a wireless connectivity is not available, or if that is available but it is costing high because of the high capex which is there. So in that scenario, our wireless last mile which is there, that is a SIM-based last mile, wherein you have a basic data applications, and that needs to be accessed by this office which is remotely based across at any part of India, north, south, east, west. But it has to connect with the head office so that the employees over there, they can able to seamlessly access the applications over there. So in that, there are multiple ways we can connect with it. We can give a redundancy, the SIM-based redundancy also through that. So what what are the features of it? Feasibility anywhere, everywhere. It is a LTE, that is 3G or 4G based last mile connectivity. Telco agnostic, that is we have tie-up with various renowned SIM-based providers which are there. That is Vodafone, we have tie-up with Airtel and other providers which are there. You have a cost benefit, and the cost is very low cost. Facility for 2 Mbps, 4 Mbps, the cost is pretty much low as per the traditional last mile. Plug and play and ease of deployment. So these are all the features and the benefits which comes up with the wireless last mile. The other service which we could discuss is the voice front, which is there. So cloud phone hosted services which is there. So this customer needs which customer wish to go for this. They want to go for a business continuity, ability to scale up, cost optimization, customer data privacy, productivity enhancement, reporting and analytics, work from home, and call analogy, which is recording and analytics, which is there. So due to current pandemic, which is there is a challenge where people are working from home, but how to ensure that they are following the work from home protocol which is there. So to back up with this, reporting and analytics, at the same time call recording and analytics, customer data privacy, because these people who are working from home, they are using the broadband or hotspot based connectivity. So how we get reliable and ensure that there is a data privacy? So answer to that is our cloud phone solution benefits. It has a SLA-based telco grade solution that is 99.5% uptime. It has been distributed from our data centers. One is in Ahmedabad and another is Bangalore data center. So to cater the needs across India. It has a seamless API integration as it is an open source platform. So naturally, the API integration with your system or with your CRMs, secured data security, ensured data security high, productivity enhancement, because you can connect from any part of India. You require a mobile phone or a landline of your home, whichever it is. We ensure that that number is not being exposed to the end customer. Instant scalability, and anytime you can ramp up your solution. Cost-effective solutions. Looking at the current competition, is a very cost-effective solutions. So how it helps, cloud phone hosted solutions for your business. How it helps? It helps in call connecting, the call patching, that is the customer as well as your employee, connect for inbound and outbound call. Lead management, you can ensure that leads are secured, they are easily, seamlessly uploaded. You can get the reports onto it. Inbound IVRs, you can create, you can choose your IVR. So this platform has an inbuilt text-to-speech engine, which is there, wherein you can type your messages which are there, and at the second is and promptly you get the recordings itself. So you can choose your own IVRs, your flows, call flow through this portal, which we provide through this solution. Number masking, it ensures that the end employee number, whether it's a mobile or a landline number, is not been exposed to the end customer. Hosted contact call center. So this is predominantly if you want to build a hosted contact call center, which is there, or a contact center, this is the right way solution which is there. So we'll understand the inbound call flow. The inbound customer, the customer which is there, end customer which is there, he calls onto a toll-free number or a toll number which is there. So toll-free number is denoted by 1-800 number, and a toll number is denoted by 8-digit number which is there, either a Bangalore or Ahmedabad number which is there, whichever data center which you have. It hits my cloud phone platform which has the servers. It has been responded by welcome. The customer who is there, he's been responded by a welcome message, and he's been offered the menu options to which departments he wish to get connected. Once he selects the option, according to that, the caller is forwarded to the respective agent of that department which is there, and the call gets connected, and the communication is initiated between both parties which is there, that is the customer and the agent. This slide, it is an outbound call flow. The outbound call flow can be initiated the click to call with it. So we give a client application. Now these applications which are there, these are URL-based applications. So do not need to install these applications onto your PCs or a desktops which is there. They can directly to an URL. This application you can log in as an agent, and you can select the cloud phone number and select the agent is selected, and the customer number which is there. Now this is the number which is there. So this agent which is there, his mobile number will be mapped to my PID within the system, and the customer number will be picked up from the calling list which is uploaded. And once it says selects for a call, the two calls, my platform will be initiating the two calls. First call will be connected to the agent, and the second call will be connected to the customer. And once the customer picks up the call will get dispatched, and then the communication of the communication between agent and customer is initiated. So this is how the outbound call flow is. Now we move on to our another services, that is endpoint security. As due to pandemics, people are working from home. They are using their devices now in remotely. If they are using an unreliable connectivity, that is a broadband or a hotspot. How to ensure this device does not get compromised? The answer for it is cyber security needs which are there. So while browsing the net, protecting company servers, while checking the emails, work from home. So these are these are the possibilities through which this device can be compromised, and your intellectual property or the data from this device can be pulled by any of the unethical hacker which is there. So to avoid this, drivers of cyber security which are there, digital growth necessitating the security investments, increasing attacks in India and customer data needs. If you find mostly in Bangalore and the current research which is there, metros like Mumbai and Bangalore are the most affected, and Delhi which are there, which are more affected as compared to tier 3 cities which are there. So regulatory norms are also driving the security needs. So these are three governing factors, or these factors which are there, which go for a cyber, say for for a cyber security or need for a cyber security. Now, components of our endpoint security solutions. There is a software application. Software applications with multiple OS support, which sits onto the customer device. Now, this software applications can be set on this laptop, this tab, or a mobile device. According to the research, what we have seen, most of the people who have at least 2 to 3 devices, which is there. So our licenses come, with a single license. The user can use 3 devices, which is there. Analytics, there is an analytical reports, which use the security reports. The admin will get an analytical dashboard to which he can get a security reports, user group reports, and notification alerts. There is an administrative portal through which he can pull the analytics. At the same time, he can do policy management admin can do a policy management, exception management, and single view of the health of status of all devices. And cloud hosting, real-time discovery and patch management. So whatever the patch management which is there, that is through our cloud-based servers. So once if there is any new patch which is being introduced, it will be broadcasted across all the devices at a one single time. It is not required, each and every devices to go personally and install this patch which is there. And at the same time, my services which are there, which will sense, do a real-time discovery, which are the devices which requires a patch. So that is the intellectual piece which comes with this solution. So my product feature sets which are there, that is, these are the feature details in front of you. Devices type supported, which are the Windows PC, desktops, laptops, and servers, Mac OS, Apple iOS for smartphones, Android smartphones which are there, and these feature details which are there. The endpoint security comes up with these features. It has an antivirus, anti-spyware, anti-ransomware, application control, which is there. That is currently present only for Windows PC. Component updates, data loss prevention, again it is for Windows PC. Device control, firewall, again it is for Windows PC. HTTPS web protection, predictive machine learning. A unique thing in this product is it does a predictive machine learning. So it understands the analogy of the machines, whether it's a tab or a desktop or a laptop. It understands the dynamics and the analogy of the machines, and it helps, it senses if any attack is there, and it ensures that the activities are up and running. It does not hamper your current activity, and it eradicates or quarantines it without from the background itself. It has a rule-based administration, unauthorized change prevention services, URL filtering, and a web reputation, which is so these are bundle of services and features which comes with my endpoint security services. And my endpoint security services, if you want any details about any of the latest updates, you can subscribe to our Tata Tele business services, or there are various social medias through which we have our presences. You can connect us, or you can connect us through our Tata Tele business services app website, which is there. So the future which we will say that today is obsolete. So there is change. Change is inevitable, and how the situations are there, we have to adjust to it, or we have to get into it, and accordingly we have to come out with a new solutions which is there. So that is our today's also. So I'm done with my presentation. I'm happy to have any questions from your side. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Patil. Very interesting and very useful presentation. This is a need of our, particularly the SMEs or the entrepreneurs or even workforce working from their home. And this is a platform where the SMEs should adapt, and they can improve their capabilities and capacity to fulfill the requirements and fulfill the requirements of the industry. Coming to the point about when you said many things about particularly useful for the SME sector, I would like to announce that the participant that which is the following services do you think will be enabled for organization operations? One, audio, video, and web conferencing. Second, toll-free and landline solution for the remote access. Dedicated internet bandwidth and secure email and data access to your organization. And lastly, a customized solution specific for your organization. And another point is, what are your organization's telecom related needs? Particularly, there are plenty of needs are there, but I want to highlight that one is a multi-branch connectivity, dedicated connectivity, productivity enhancement, asset tracking, collaboration solution like audio, video, web conferencing, and lastly is customer support solutions. This is very interesting, and I would like to suggest the participants and the delegates, those are joined today, and those are going to receive our information the post event the report. I suggest share your information, share your requirements, and somehow SME Chamber of India and SME Technology Development Center are bringing particularly the stakeholders. Those are providing solutions, support, and platform, affordable platform. rather for HR, finance, marketing, accounting, branding, promotion, industrial productivity, industrial automation, and mostly the efficiency, the quality, productivity, and efficiency, and particularly using the AI, IoT, and now we are entering into the 5G now, and world is going ahead, and we are also following them. But now this is the right time. In presence of the Sudhir Garg, I would like to say that this is the right time. The government should come ahead with the particular support services, and should come ahead to utilize and adapt that support services. Then only we can say we are the leaders in a manufacturing industry, leaders in a service sector in the world. We have to accomplish the dream project of the Honorable Prime Minister, that particularly to making India is a manufacturing hub, making India is a $5 trillion US economy. Who will do? The SME sector will do. SME sector will put efforts, and I'm sure that this platform will definitely useful for the SME sector to enhance their knowledge and the capabilities for particularly to achieve the target goal. Lastly, I would like to request the Sri Sudhir Garg, if you would like to give a closing remarks, particularly of whatever we discussed now, and any idea if you come up after discussion or after the presentation by the Tata Corporate Services, sir.
So I believe seeing is believing. So the SMEs who are very smart to look at the benefits on the investment. Now, these solutions like by Tata Tele services, if it is possible for them to, showcase some solutions to the industry, I believe they must have already implemented many solutions in the industry. And if they can create a small video or a VR-based platform, then we possibly can show it to the industry in our technology centers. And during that interaction, I believe our industry will really pick up these solutions much faster. And that's how the adoption can go in a much faster way. That's what I think.
Oh,
So that's
good.
what my comments are. And thank you very much.
This is very interesting, Amit.
sorry.
You should take forward, and Mr. Patil also you can reply. But Amit, you can talk to your team and you can take forward this very interesting suggestion. Through that, you can connect with a lot of MSMEs in India that they are looking for this kind of technology. Sushilkumar.
So I want to answer Mr. Garg's question, which is a very nice suggestion, and we started way back itself. Chandrakant can also take on to it. Sessions which are there, this do theme which is there. So we have clips which are there which portray or showcase our solutions rightly. And this is again, and this is ongoing process, and we keep on updating on these areas which are there. So specifically, Amit plays practicing in this specific sector which is there. So along with the marketing communication, they come up with various areas which are there, and they just highlighting them. There are testimonials about the happy customers who found the challenges they have come up, how they have enabled using our services, and how they have excited their businesses which is there. So we are backed up with those testimonials also. We have put it across.
Okay, Jonathan, would you like to give a closing remarks?
No, I think that was very interesting there, and it's one of the problems that we actually struggled with this whole pandemic was actually getting our people mobile actually, and trying, as you know, a lot of people travel inwards towards the city, and we found it very difficult to get connectivity issues for them solved and everything like that. We ended up having to get in outside vendors at great cost. So I found that very interesting. I'd love to know an awful lot more, and you can have my email address or anything, just on the cost-effective approach of it and how it would work against that and how we could roll it out across the company, because at current pace, we have a few hundred people working from home, and it would be great to know the cost-effective nature of getting the internet capabilities into village areas where we have people traveling in from, and that would be very interesting.
Okay. Viren, your closing remarks.
Thank you. A very interesting session, really exciting to listen to all the speakers, especially to Sudhir ji, to Jonathan, to Abhishek. These were really exciting. To Sushilkumar, my comment is really impressed to see the span of product portfolio that you have. But I do want to leave you with a challenge. It's always good to leave you with a challenge. Looking at your logo on the side of Do Big, I like the Do Big, which is different from many companies, but might say Think Big. So I like your Do Big part of it. And I want to leave you with a thought, which as I'm just imagining an SME, what you provided is the connectivity part of it, and a whole holistic way you provided the connectivity part. But when I look at a typical SME and look at digitalization, I'm sure he wants a total digital solution, taking the latest, because each individual SME cannot go out and pick up the latest in the world. So maybe a large organization like yourself or others, maybe in a way, combining the best of what you do and maybe the best of what companies like Jonathan do, where the end application. So if I'm a manufacturer and I need specific applications relating to machine connectivity and inventory and logistics, and I'm just taking 3 examples, can those packages also be bundled together? Because I saw you have nearly 1,200 partners, maybe if you take on several more partners and you provide these services, and by virtue of your scale, even as the technology keeps enhancing and improving and growing, and your partners provide new solutions, again, you bundle that in and provide that to SMEs. So this is going to be an ever-changing landscape, and SMEs will not be able to keep up with that. So if I buy this, call it version 1 today, I'm going to require version 2 or version 3 tomorrow, and maybe a large organization could provide that total solution in totality to help me run and connect with my whole organization. So just leave you with that very ambitious, do big thought process for the future.
So thank you. This is very interesting. To change the landscape, SME should, rethink and redesign their business plans, or with the focus on how to leverage the social media, mobile connectivity, data analysis, cloud computing. The services provided by the various IT technology company services providers, and incorporate these tools in their business model. And I'm sure that this digital transformation for the SME sector will be beneficial for not only the compete to the local market but the global market. SME digital transformation has proven to be the vital long before the COVID-19 crisis. And after the hit, that importance are only the grew stronger and clearer to ensure SME's business sustainability. It is a continuous process of the challenging the current status as the technologies keep evolving, and in order to SMEs to survive, they need to incorporate this process to grow and thrive. And as Viren said, and as Sushilkumar said, do big, think big, and become a big, not only just small, but become a big as an enterprise to compete with the world market. With this world, I'm thankful to Sri Garg Saab, particularly thanks to Sri Abhishek Singh ji, Mr. Jonathan. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Of course, always Viren ji is our, what we can say, khajina of the knowledge for the industry perspective. Always we are inspired by your talk and your support. And I'm thankful to Amit for creating the awareness atmosphere for particularly for SME sector. This world, I'm sure that this webinar or the e-platform will be useful for the SME sector. And thank you very much. All the best to you.